Alright, we're talking about surface area of rectangular prisms today. And probably this is one of the most important formula problems that you're going to be dealing with. So it's an absolute must, just like the rest of them, that you write down a formula to solve these particular problems. Looking at this particular formula is 2 times the length times width plus 2 times the length times height plus 2 times the width times height. Okay, this is referring to the top and the bottom of the actual box. Okay, that is my length here, and my width is here. That is the bottom of the box. This is the top. And the reason we multiply by 2 is because there is 2, a top and a bottom. This one is the left and the right sides. That is the length and height. So here is my length, here is my height. And you got to remember, we're talking about surface area, okay, which is basically trying to wrap this box in wrapping paper. Okay, that's what you're trying to do. How much surface area? So it is length times width, basically. It's 2 dimensions that you're multiplying together to find these. So the right side, this is my left side. And then we have 2 times the width times height, which is going to be my front and the back, which is this right here. And again, my width, okay, which is right here. This is my height, which gives me the length and the width for, or 2 dimensions for that back and for that front. Okay, here's another way of looking at it as it is opened up, and I'll actually show you this like a Kleenex box, opening it up, and I'll show you that tomorrow in class. But here's the front, here's the back, the bottom, the top, the left side, and the right side as it's laying open. Okay, but again, it's using this formula to solve this problem. Is absolutely the easiest way of doing so. So make sure you write the formula, then solve. So we're going to go ahead and do just that. So we're going to write that down. I'm going to write it right here. It was 2 length times width plus 2 times length times height plus, and then it's 2 times the width times the height. Okay, so let's plug that in. So my length would be 15, my width would be 15.6 times 12.3, and again we're multiplying that by 2. So there's our first, plus 2, and I'm going to just write it right below it, times my length, which is 15.6, times my height, which is the height right here, which gives me 14.7, plus 2 times my width. This is dealing with my width, and that's 12.3, times my height, which is 14.7. Now, the best way of solving this, by the way, is to label which one is my width, length, and height. So label this as my length, label this as my width, label this as my height, and you should have done that at first. Okay, so you'd want to do that before you do any labeling. All you have to do is say, all right, here's my L, so write that. Here's my W, write that, and so forth. Okay, so when I do all of this, I'm now going to simply take that information and plug that into a calculator to come up with that answer. So 2 times 15.6 times 12.3 equals 383.76. Then you're going to take 2 times 15.6 times 14.7, and that equals 458.64. Then 2 times 12.3 times 14.7 equals 361.62. And again, we must add all these together. So plus 361.62 plus 458.64 plus 383.76 equals, so we end up then with a total of 1,204 and 2/100ths. Now we are dealing with surface area, so it is meters and it is squared because of area. Okay? So what I want you to do now on the next one is the same thing, and we're going to go through this and label them first. So we're going to use this as my length. This over here for the bottom would be a width, so that number right there is dealing with the width of our object. So there's width, and this would be how tall it is, so that's our height. Okay? Using our formula, 2 times length width plus 2 times length and height plus 2 times the width times the height. Okay, so let's plug that in now, our numbers. So we have 2 times my length, which is 10 4/5, times my width, which is 6 3/4. That's my first one. Then I have 2 times length, which is 10 4/5, times my height, which is 2 1/3. Then I have 2 times my width, which is 6 3/4, times my height, which again is 2 1/3. Now what you need to do is go through this and solve it. You can use a calculator, you can write this out mathematically as well, if you like. So we can take 2/1 times, this would be 5 times 10, which is 50, plus 4, we can get 54/5, times 24 plus 3 more is 27/4. Now you can do any kind of cross-reducing on this if possible. If not, then you can just simply multiply. So 2 times 54 times 27, which equals 29/16 over 1 times 5 times 4, which is 20. So then you can take that and divide it, and you get 145.8, or again you could have made these decimals, which this would be 10.8 times 6.75, and you would get the same answer. This one would be 2/1 times 54/5 times 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1, so 7/3. And again, you're going to get 2 times 54 times 7, which equals 756 over 15 from 1 times 5 times 3. And divide 756 by 15, and I get 50.4. The next one, 2/1 times, this one was 27/4 times 7/3. thirds, and you would take 2 times 27 times 7, which equals 378, over 1 times 4 times 3 is 12. So then divide that 378 divided by 12, which equals 31.5. So then you would need to add these answers together. So 31.5 plus 50.4 plus 145.8, and you get a grand total of 227.7. And again, we are dealing with area, so it is square feet. Okay. Now this one makes you work a little bit with all the fractions on here. This is going back to our fractions that we've done in the past. It's a good review. Making these into improper fractions first. It makes it a little easier. You don't have to worry about the cross reducing so much since you've got a calculator. Just multiply the numerators together, multiply denominators, and divide, and you'll get the decimal point value. Sometimes it'll be a whole number as well. Okay? And you can leave them as a decimal point. If you wanted to change this to 227 and 7 over 10, you could do that as well for the 7/10 since they left it as a fraction here. But I'll take either answer because they're both correct. If you have any questions, again, please make note of that. We'll do one more problem in class before we get started on the homework, just to verify a few things. So have a great evening, and be ready to work on this tomorrow.